Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 8th, 2026 Eugene City Council meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight in this hybrid meeting format, and anyone who wishes to access the meeting remotely can do so by watching the live stream on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the access and instructions listed on the City of Eugene's public webcasts and meetings materials page. Tonight's meeting will include a public comment period, and if you wish to speak, please fill out a request to speak form on our public webcasts and meetings materials webpage or at the entrance to this room, and we will accept request forms until 7:35 p.m. this evening. These forms will be used to generate the order of speakers and to accurately enter speakers' names into the public record. Public comment period will be limited to 90 minutes or conclude by 10 p.m., whichever occurs first. And if the number of speakers exceeds the time that we have allotted, we encourage speakers to consider abbreviating their remarks so that the maximum number of speakers can be heard. For those joining the meeting remotely, you are welcome to email your comments to council, and that is true of anyone giving public comment. As a reminder, council's meeting rules of conduct apply to all attendees, both in the chambers and in the lobby, and include no flags, signs, loud or disruptive language, noise, or conduct that obstructs the business of the council. Please keep the room quiet and respectful for all speakers, and you are welcome to wave your hands in silent support. We encourage all those that are ill to join this meeting remotely rather than in person, and have masks available in the lobby if you need one. And during public comment, please address your comment to the council and elected officials in this room. In case of a medical emergency, an automated external defibrillator is located on the counter behind the staff on the west side of this room, and emergency exits are through the double doors located at the back of the room and the double doors located near the front of the room. The doors to the patio can also be used as needed. And with that, I call the June 8th, 2026 meeting of the Eugene City Council to order. And we'll begin this evening with a land acknowledgement. Since time immemorial, the Kalapuya people have been the indigenous stewards to our region, building dynamic communities, maintaining balance with wildlife, and enacting sustainable land practices. This land acknowledgement is a way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and to honor Native communities by inviting truth and reconciliation. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. As we consider the impacts of colonization, we also acknowledge the strength and resiliency of displaced indigenous people. The City of Eugene is built within the traditional homelands known as Kalapuya Ilihi. Kalapuya descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians of Oregon. And they continue to make contributions in our communities here and across the lands. We express our respect for the inherent political sovereignty of all federally recognized tribal nations and indigenous people who live in the state of Oregon and across the nation. Our first item on tonight's agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance in recognition of Flag Day. And so we will open tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And to lead us in the pledge this evening, we are joined by Zev Wax, a graduating senior from South Eugene High School, a two-year member of the Youth Advisory Council. The Youth Advisory Council, also known as the YAC or the YAC, gives Eugene High School students a chance to have their voices heard by the City of Eugene and the broader community by creating a space where student perspectives can influence and initiate and participate in policy at the city government level. And so Zev will now lead us in the pledge, and please stand if you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Zev. Our second item on tonight's agenda is ceremonial matters. And first, I would like to share a few words about the 7 proclamations that I've asked the City of Eugene to prepare for the month of June 2026. Proclamations are ceremonial documents requested and signed by the mayor, and you can find all of these proclamations cached at the City of Eugene website. This month, we are celebrating Eugene LGBTQ+ Pride Month for the entirety of June. culminating with an all-day Eugene Springfield Pride Festival on Saturday, June 27th at the Lane Events Center, and I hope to see many of you there. This past week, we have also recognized National Gun Violence Awareness Day on June 5th and National Cancer Survivors Day yesterday on June 7th. Every year, more than 44,000 Americans die from gun violence, 120 Americans every day. And there are over 18.6 million cancer survivors living in our country, the United States, today. This week, we are also collectively celebrating the graduations and the last day of school for our local Bethel and 4J and college-age students on Friday, June 12th. Congratulations to all graduates from kindergarten through secondary education and beyond in our community, as well as to the family and friends and loved ones, teachers, coaches, and mentors who have been a part of each and every one of these educational journeys. And welcome to summer, everyone. We're here. Following Friday next week, we celebrate Juneteenth on June 19th, and we will gather in downtown Eugene for a family-friendly community celebration honoring the history, resilience, and achievements of African Americans while also commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. And I want to thank our partners at Black Youth Incorporated, the Downtown Program Fund grants, and our community sponsors for supporting this event at the Market Pavilion, and encourage everyone to join us on Juneteenth. And to conclude this month, we will celebrate the summer solstice, the longest and brightest day of the year, coming up shortly on June 21st. And the day before, we will recognize World Refugee Day on June 20th in the city of Eugene. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our incredible community partners with Catholic Community Services Refugee and Immigrant Services Program and with Pacific Refugee Support for their tireless work to support our refugee and immigrant community members. That gratitude is extended to all of the community volunteers, organizations, sponsors, and partners who are working every day to connect our community, to lift up our shared history and future, and to celebrate each and every Eugenian for being exactly who they are. Look forward to celebrating and recognizing all of these proclamations with you throughout the month of June. Also, as one of our ceremonial manners this evening, we will be learning about the Youth Advisory Council's annual report. So shortly, we will be receiving a brief summary of the YAC's, the YAC's annual report, and the full text will be sent to council, was sent to council with the last week's packets. Before we begin this report, I would like to recognize the members of the Youth Advisory Council who are graduating this year and ending their service on the council, many of whom are here with us this evening. These seniors include J.P. Barnhart, Clu Buchanan, Anya Feldoff-Choi, Logan Green, Ella Killingsworth, who is co-chair of the YAC, Layla Schropp, who is the community ambassador, Gao Sheikh, who's also a co-chair, Flora Stubert, Zev Wax, secretary, and Lily Yao. I want to thank you all, the entire YAC, for all of your hard work and for making student voices heard in city government and participating so enthusiastically and robustly in many conversations over this past year. And now I would like to invite YAC co-chair Gaush Sheikh to the podium to deliver the annual report.
I'll keep this relatively short, but good evening, Mayor and councilors. My name is Gaush Sheikh, and I'm a senior at South Eugene High School. And this past year, I've had the privilege of serving as co-chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. And just some background, since its founding in 2020, the YAC has worked to amplify youth voices across Eugene and the Bethel 4J school district areas and provide meaningful opportunities for civic engagement at the municipal level. This year, we continued that mission through a variety of projects focused on policy, outreach, and civic education. One highlight was our continued collaboration with the Urban Growth Strategies, which you all have heard much about. We provided feedback on home energy efficiency recommendations and the city's Equity Atlas, giving members the opportunity to see how youth perspectives can directly inform policy discussions and planning efforts in our city. We also focused on strengthening the future of the YAC itself. To better understand the youth we represent, we began developing a citywide youth survey and conducted demographic research within our own council. These efforts will help future members better engage with and represent Eugene's diverse youth populations that we are so lucky to be able to represent. In addition, we expanded our outreach through social media by launching monthly updates on our work and council actions. These efforts contributed to a record of 30+ applications this year, which I had a lot of my friends apply to. Unfortunately, not all of them were able to make it this year, but 30+ applications is one of the greatest turnouts we've ever had for the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and I hope that continues onward. The council also prioritized civic education. Members attended and reported on city council meetings and other city-related councils throughout the year. And in April, we hosted our 3rd annual Mock City Council meeting. This hands-on experience allowed members to learn the process of public testimony, education, in civic processes, deliberation, and local decision-making. And on behalf of the YAC, I want to thank the mayor, city council as a whole, city staff that was able to facilitate all of our meetings, and YAC intern Emma as well. So we are very proud of what we've accomplished this year, and equally excited by the opportunities that lie ahead of us. And the foundation we've built this term will help position future YAC members for success to take on even greater challenges throughout the future years to come. And I look forward to supporting the next board as they continue this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaush. I will not read the abbreviated but still extensive list of accomplishments of the graduating members of the Youth Advisory Council. It's an extraordinary cross-section of students from all across our community, and I cannot wait to see what is next in their futures, and just want to emphasize one more time what a privilege it was to attend our YAC meetings each month and spend that time together. It's a late evening in this very room on Wednesday nights, and the amount of engagement, but also the modeling of leadership and community support offered by the YAC, I found very inspiring. And I just wish the entire YAC the best of luck into the future, and certainly to our graduating seniors, a lot of appreciation, and look forward to staying in touch. Thank you all, and thank you for that report, Gaush. And that concludes our 2nd agenda item this evening. Our 3rd item on tonight's agenda is committee reports and items of interest. And I now open the floor for committee reports or items of interest from council. And Councilor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. My name's Randy Groves. I'm the counselor for Ward 8, which is Southwest Eugene, and I'm the chair of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting. And I have a short report tonight from our last meeting, the IGR committee meeting on Wednesday, June 3rd, and debriefed the May 27th council work session on IGR activities, discussed the process and schedule for developing the 2027 priorities, and started discussions related to specific topics that will be considered for inclusion into the priorities and policy documents. As is the practice for these guiding documents, the IGR committee provides input and guidance in the development of the draft documents, approving them before bringing them to the full council for review, discussion, and action later this fall. At the May 27 IGR work session, staff gave a brief summary before direction from council was given to come back to council at a later date for a more in-depth discussion related to the 2027 priorities. This work session is being tentatively scheduled for either June 22nd or July 8th. Please let your IGR committee members, which include myself, Councilors Evans and Ye, Mayor Knutson serves as an ex officio member, and City Manager Hariyama, or the IGR manager, know if you have any input or questions to follow up on. Thank you, Mayor.
I have Councilor Clark, and then Councilor Ye, and Councilors Lanka, and then City Manager, I believe, in the queue. Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say, all councilors got an email from the Director of Finance for the Planning and Development Department several days ago, a week and a half ago, and gave us all notice of a potential fee increase that the manager was going to decide on soon. And we are now in the midst of the 2-week comment period, and so I thought I'd take my couple of moments here tonight to make a comment to the manager, because she has the complete authority for making that decision. I thought about making a motion at council, but as is proper. This is an administrative fee, and it's the manager's decision to be able to comply with the request that was made. This particular email recommended a 2.7% increase in building permit fees, which is on top of an 8% increase that happened last July, which is a kind of standard because, you know, there's inflation and everything else sort of thing to happen. But I just wanted to point out that it made me stop and think about it and want to talk about this a little bit, because that's almost an 11% increase in the cost of buying a building permit in the middle of a housing crisis in less than a year. And in my opinion, we should be discounting what a building permit costs from the city at this point, you know, 20% a year, whatever we can to increase the amount of housing that gets built. And we don't, this isn't someone is, you know, mean or something. They're not trying to do a bad thing. This is a standard sort of administrative thing we do, but I want us to think about the impacts. In the first 5 months of last year, we had 59 building permits taken for single-family homes in our community. The state of Oregon has said we need 1,600 a year for the next 20 years, units, not just single-family homes. But this year, from January to May, the number of permits taken is 38. We're heading in the wrong direction. In the middle of a housing crisis, the number of new homes being built is decreasing steadily. And I think I know we're going to talk about incentives here in a couple of weeks, but I just want to encourage the manager to consider maybe discounting the building permit fee instead. So, thank you.
Councilor Ye.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to share a couple of positive interactions I've had around our healthcare system. I know recently we've had a lot of discouraging news in this area. So the first one is a tour that the mayor and I and some staff were able to go on for the Coquille Wellness Center, which is on River Road. It's an integrated facility that does primary care and behavioral health and opioid treatment program. And I was very impressed by the way that they have such an innovative care system that really holistically combines all of the different things that they do for their patients. And I learned something new. I thought the Wellness Center served mainly the Coquille tribal members and other American Indian and Native, Alaskan Natives, but they do not. They also serve the general public, and they have quite a few patients that are not tribal members, and they are currently accepting new patients. So it was a very exciting tour, and I learned a lot. The other was a girder signing I attended and spoke at for Slocum Orthopedics. I'm sure many of you recognize the name Slocum. They've been a trusted partner in our community for generations, and they have a new ambulatory surgery center on Chad Drive that is being constructed, which is it's going to be just this amazing facility for our community that's going to bring in high-quality orthopedic care. It's going to reduce wait times for folks, lower costs, and it's something we can do right here rather than having to go a long distance to reach this kind of care. And what I really enjoyed about this particular facility, they're investing quite a bit of money and time into this project, and it really shows that, you know, Eugene is a place where people want to build, where professionals want to practice. Many of the doctors are invested in the project themselves, and where families want to be able to put down roots and be here for a while. So I thought that was a second really exciting healthcare opportunity for our community. And lastly, I wanted to just give a quick update from the Human Rights Commission. Our chair, Commissioner Silky Booker, is stepping down for family reasons, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank him for all of the years he has spent on the HRC. I was able to serve with him both on the Police Commission and on the HRC, and I want to thank him for sharing his experience and his insight on so many community issues. And while he's having to step back, I know he'll be back when he has the capacity. He's very committed to this community, and it's unfortunate that he has to step back, but family's important, and I'm glad he has the opportunity to do that.
Councilor Zelenka.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Seeing that this is the first meeting after the election, I wanted to congratulate Greg Evans on his reelection, but I also wanted to congratulate my successor, Councilor-elect Jennifer Smith, who's in the front row over there, and who I wholeheartedly endorsed and supported. And I wanted to thank John Borofsky for running a good and really effective, clean campaign. And also like to thank or like to congratulate Lexi Miller on his appointment to or election to the EWEB board. I would point out that Jennifer won that seat by over 15 points. And I'll also point out that that no chamber candidate has represented the Ward 3 in well over 30 years. In fact, the chamber only went 1 for 4 on Eugene elections this go around, and I think that maybe has something to say about their messaging. But since Jennifer Smith is actually currently in a class of 1 as a councilor-elect, and we're having a important long-term financial retreat on the 30th and 1st. I think it would be a good idea to invite her to be an observer in person at our June 30th, July 1st workshop. So she will be at the table in 2027 making the decisions with you all. And so I think that would be a good idea to invite her. Thanks.
And City Manager.
No comment other than I appreciate the words from Councilor Clark, and we'll take that under advisement.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. And that concludes our 3rd agenda item this evening. The 4th item on tonight's agenda is Consent Calendar 1, which includes the approval of City Council minutes and the approval of the City Council's tentative agenda. Are there any questions from Council? Councilor Krasinski.
Yes, I would like to request that we pull the minutes from the April 27th work session from the consent calendar. When I was reading over them this weekend, I noticed a comment that had been misattributed. And so would like to give staff a chance to look over that before we approve it.
Thank you. So we will pull the April 27th meeting minutes from Consent Calendar 1. And seeing no other questions from Council, turn to the Council President to put a motion forward.
Move to approve the items on Consent Calendar 1.
Second.
Discussion from Council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes in the tablets in front of you or raise your hands if you are remote, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you, Council. That concludes our 4th agenda item this evening. I'll now turn to the City Manager to introduce our 5th agenda item, which is an action on appointments to boards, commissions, and committees.
Thank you, Mayor. Every year, the City of Eugene holds a recruitment process to appoint individuals to various boards, commissions, and committees. Applications were accepted January 1st through 31st of this year. After the application period, Council invited certain applicants to provide 3-minute statements, and Mayor Knutson held interviews for the seats for which she nominates. Tonight, you will vote on suggested motions for appointments that staff have prepared based on the nominations made by councilors and Mayor Knutson. The nomination totals were provided in your agenda summaries and are attachments A and B.
Thank you, City Manager. I'll now turn to the Council President to put the first motion forward.
Move to appoint Emily Yates to the Budget Committee for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from Council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes in the tablets in front of you. Motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Now turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint DJ Kelly Quattrochi to the Budget Committee for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Councilor Zelenka.
I would move to substitute Tim Black.
I do not hear a second, Councilor. So we will continue with the motion on the table. Councilors, please lock in your votes for this motion. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Now turn to the council president to put the next motion forward for the Civilian Review Board.
Move to reappoint Elise Josephson to the Civilian Review Board for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Now turn to the council president for a second motion in the Civilian Review Board.
Move to appoint Amanda Walkup to the Civilian Review Board for a 3-year term, July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll turn to the council president for a third Civilian Review Board motion.
Move to appoint Kimberly Voorhees to the Civilian Review Board for a partial term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. Motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And I'll now turn to the council president for another motion related to the Civilian Review Board.
Move to appoint Christine Silver to the Civilian Review Board for a partial term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Now turn to the council president for a first motion related to the Human Rights Commission.
Move to appoint Sarah Connors to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Turn to the council president for a second motion for the Human Rights Commission.
Move to appoint Mahindra Kumar to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Our screens blanked for a second there, but the votes are coming in. And it is unanimous. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. I'll turn to the council president for the next Human Rights Commission motion.
Move to appoint Leon Bote to the Human Rights Commission for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you, and this motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you, council. Moving on to our Planning Commission. I'll turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to reappoint Tiffany Edwards to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Please lock in the votes on the tablets in front of you. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll turn to the council president for a second Planning Commission motion.
Move to appoint Ethan Clevenger to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Councilor Zelenka?
Move to substitute Thomas Shuroff.
Counselor, I do not hear a second, so we will continue with the motion on the table. Counselors, please lock in your votes on your tablets in front of you. Motion, 7 votes for, and Counselor Zelenka,
No.
1 vote against, and the motion passes with a vote of 7-1. Thank you. Now for our Toxics Board, we'll turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Francesca Negri to the Toxics Board for a 3-year advocacy representative term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And Councilor Zelenka voting in the affirmative, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And now for the Historic Review Board. I'll turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Sorrel Ahrens to the Historic Review Board for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. Motion, 6 votes in affirmative, and motions 7. And Councilor Zelenka, could you clarify voting for? Thank you. Councilor,
Yes.
I believe the vote is then unanimous, 8-0. Thank you very much. Now turn to the Council President for second Historic Review Board motion.
Move to appoint Stephanie Harrow to the Historic Review Board for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2030.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And now we move on to our Police Commission. I'll turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Emily Sanderford to the Police Commission for a partial term beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending on June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And now the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee. I'll turn to the Council President to put the motion forward.
Move to appoint Nick Hale to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a partial term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. That motion, 7 votes in the affirmative. Has 8 votes in the affirmative. Thank you, Councilor Clark and Councilor Zelenka. Motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Now turn to the Council President to put the next motion forward for the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee.
Move to appoint Thomas Holzer to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on your tablets. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And I will turn to the Council President to put a third Willamette Citizen Planning Committee motion forward.
Move to appoint Marco Longoria to the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. The motion passes with a vote of 8-0. We are now to our Lane County Regional Air Protection Agency, LRAPA, and I'll turn to the Council President to put the motion forward.
Move to reappoint Michael Johnston to the Lane County Regional Air Protection Agency for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Thank you. Councilor Keating?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. As the chair of the Lane County Regional Air Protection Agency, I just want to voice my enthusiasm for the reappointment of Michael Johnston. He's been an engaged, hands-on, energetic, and collaborative partner on the LRAPA board. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. I'll now turn to the council president to put the next LRAPA motion forward.
Move to reappoint Dylan Plummer to the Lane County Regional Air Protection Agency for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Councilor Keating?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Similarly, Dylan Plummer has been a breath of fresh air. I now realize there's a pun there. Dylan brings a welcome perspective and environmental cred as an organizer in this community on a whole host of environmental reforms. I urge and I vote for Dylan's reappointment to the LRAPA board.
Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Oh, I'm so sorry, council. Who did I miss? I'm sorry, Councilor. I only have signs of voting, not directions of vote. Could I have a clarification from staff about? Councilor Clark has voted. Gross. Thank you. So Councilor Zelenka, you voted in the affirmative. Thank you very much, staff. And the motion passes with a vote of 6-2. Thank you, council. Now turn to the council president to put a next motion forward.
Move to appoint Nicole Nyo to the Lane County Regional Air Protection Agency for a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2029.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Councilor Keating?
Thank you, Mayor. As I understand it, Dr. Ngo would fill the role from the past, fill the service of past chair Howard Saxion, who is termed off of the LRAPA board. Dr. Ngo is an associate professor in disability studies and the PPM program at the UO. Dr. Ngo has earned her PhD in sustainable development from Columbia University with expressed interest in public health, environmental policy, and urban sustainability. Dr. Ngo would be a welcome voice on the LRAPA board, and I urge and I vote. Thank you.
Any other discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes. Thank you, staff, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And we now turn to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Advisory Committee, the River Guides. And I turn to the council president to put the next motion forward.
Move to appoint Dan Carroll to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Advisory Committee for a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2026, ending June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? And I'll take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on your tablets. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Let's turn to the council president for a second River Guides motion.
Move to appoint Phil Farrington to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Advisory Committee for a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2026, ending June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. Motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Now turn to the council president for a next River Guides motion.
Move to appoint Joe Moll to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Advisory Committee for a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2026, ending June 30, 2028.
Second.
Discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. And the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. And I'll turn to the council president for the final River Guides motion.
Move to appoint Dana Siebert to the Riverfront Urban Renewal Advisory Committee for a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2026, ending on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Discussion from council? Seeing none, I'll now take a vote for this motion. Councilors, please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you, and the motion passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you, council, and for the public following along. This is the conclusion of a process that began back in January with hundreds of people applying to serve on the city's boards and committees and commissions. Many of you participated or watched as those finalists presented to council. I also interviewed 18 different community members for, I think, 8 available positions across the Police Commission, the Willamette Citizen Planning Committee, El Rapa, the Historic Review Board, and the River Guides. And I want to thank everyone for their engagement with this work and wish our new fleet of community volunteers on boards, commissions, and committees the very best of luck in their work. Thank you for supporting our city's work. That concludes our 5th agenda item this evening, and I will now turn to the city manager to introduce our 6th. Did I miss something? Councillor Keating.
Mayor, I have a point of personal privilege just to comment on the 5th agenda item, if I may. And I wanted to echo the congratulations you just shared, but also I wanted to point out that while we had a whole host of applicants step up to volunteer, there were, from my vantage point, a dearth of applicants who made it to the final in-person interview round, that presentation round right in front of us here at council, because it takes 4 of us, 4 councilors, to vote in the affirmative to advance a candidate to the in-person presentation round. Now, we're only voting at that point on written materials, not taking into account how dynamic an applicant can be when presenting in person. So as such, I would recommend, perhaps to council leadership, to partner with city manager at some point in the future when we do this again next year. I would love for this body to advance, instead of candidates who receive 4 votes, drop it to 3 votes for the in-person round, which I trust will expand the pool of applicants in front of us and provide for a more diverse array of prospective candidates who are stepping up to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Keating. We're now moving on to our 6th agenda item. And City Manager, please introduce an action related to an ordinance concerning increased public health standards coordination, amending sections 9.0500, 9.2460, 9.2461, and 9.4165 of the Eugene Code 1971, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for deliberations and possible action regarding an ordinance concerning increased public health standards coordination. This project is in response to a motion passed in June of 2025 by the council that directed staff to develop land use code to increase coordination with the city's public health regulatory partners. As proposed, the ordinance would require the city to provide notice to the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Environmental Quality, and the Lane Regional Air Protection Agency prior to issuing a building permit for new development in the E2, I2, and I3 zones. This ordinance also requires an applicant to attest to any permits they are required to receive from the 3 public health agencies prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Thank you, City Manager. If there are no questions from council, I'll now turn to the council president to put a motion forward.
Move to adopt an ordinance concerning increased public health standards coordination, amending sections 9.0500, 9.2460, 9.2461, and 9.4165 of the Eugene Code 1971, and providing an effective date included as Attachment A to this agenda item summary.
Second.
Any discussion from council? Thank you, Councillor Evans. And council, please use your tablets if possible. Thank you. Councillor Evans.
Yeah. Going back to previous discussions on this, I believe that the recommendation that we discussed coming from the Planning Commission was for version 4. I'd like to move to substitute in this motion from version 3 to version 4.
Second.
Any discussion from council? I'll now take a vote on this. I'm sorry, Councillor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. I was one of the original makers of this motion way back when Councillor Surratt was still here. We did this jointly. And it was in response to the J.H. Baxter pollution and the problems that we were having in West Eugene. At that time, we were focused on heavy industry that used dangerous chemicals. Since that time, this thing has expanded out much further, and I keep hearing colleagues say the people that would need to fill out the paperwork for this are very familiar with these processes. But at the same time, when I read through the list of occupancies that would be affected by this, it includes bars and taverns, delicatessens, restaurants, specialty food and beverages. Examples include bagel shops, candy shops, coffee shops that we want in Bethel, donuts, ice cream stores, and products manufactured on site that comply with manufacturing allowances for food and beverages. It also includes art galleries and studios, ballet, dance, martial arts, gymnastic schools. This thing goes well beyond heavy industry. This goes way beyond what we sought to correct. And the version 4 still gets the information, but it's not putting the onus on the person trying to develop the site. It puts it back on the city that already has this information and knows how to direct it. So I support going with version 4 over version 3. I think we're creating just one more requirement that people have to go through to establish small businesses here in our community. And it's not that any one of these things is onerous, but together, collectively, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. So I am going to support version 4. Thank you.
Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a strong desire to want to be in favor of protecting the residents of this area. I was persuaded that version 4 does a decent job of that, and that version 3, I had some concerns, goes too far in the sense that it's unbalanced, and that's why I think we got the recommendation we did from Planning Commission. But I thought Councilor Zelenka made a reasonable argument a couple of different times where he said, hey, you know, we're just asking them to sign off on this, check a box and sign off. And so I looked into the paperwork that the city's department requires in this, and it's not at all check a box and sign a form. It requires searching through websites on departments that I'd be unfamiliar with and wouldn't have a clue as to who I should talk to and when and how, and creates a burden that somebody wants to open a coffee shop shouldn't have to go through. So again, I thought the planning department or the planning commission got this right in recommending the balanced view, which is one that doesn't create too big of a burden on the small business that wants to open in the area, but absolutely protects the neighbors from potential industrial uses in the area. So I want to vote in favor of this and urge my colleagues to.
City Attorney.
I want to clarify the motion that's on the table, Councilor Evans, just to make sure that everybody knows. Since the version 3 is not in your packet, is it a direction to return to council with a version 3? Because that's not in front of you to vote on, and we wouldn't be able to make those changes on the fly.
Version 4.
I'm sorry, version 4. I apologize. So, but that is not in your packet. So is it a direction for staff to return with version 4 for a vote? Okay, so that's just a clarification to everyone. You're not voting if, in fact, Councilor Evans' motion passes this evening. We would be returning with that alternative version for you to act on this evening at a later date. Thank you. Sorry
Thank
for
you,
mixing
City
up the
Attorney.
motions.
I have Councilor Keating and then Councilor Evans in the queue. Councilor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to read into the record a letter that council received from the executive director of the Lane Regional Air Protection Agency, LRAPA. Dear Mayor and councilors, the LRAPA Lane Regional Air Protection Agency writes to reaffirm our support for version 3 of the proposed Public Health Standards Land Use Code amendments. This letter supplements LRAPA's 3 prior comments submitted during the Planning Commission proceedings and provides a final statement for the City Council's public hearing record. LRAPA has been engaged in the development of this ordinance since the city initiated community outreach in early 2025. Through that engagement, our agency has identified a fundamental procedural conflict in earlier versions of the ordinance, worked collaboratively with city staff to develop a workable solution, and provided detailed technical context on the scope and limitations of air quality permitting. Version 3 is the product of that collaborative process, and we believe it represents a sound and legally compliant coordination mechanism. Version 3 achieves the city's public health coordination goals while maintaining compliance with state permitting requirements. The point in this letter where version 4 is referenced directly, and I'll find it for you shortly. LRAPA notes that the council directed staff to bring version 3 forward for adoption rather than the Planning Commission's recommended version 4, which would have included the notification provision but omitted the applicant attestation requirement. We support this decision. The attestation component provides meaningful transparency and creates a documented basis for regulatory follow-up that notification alone does not. It also imposes a minimal burden on applicants, requiring only that they complete a form or provide a list of applicable permits. I recognize it is not perfect, but I also recognize the amount of work that has gone into it. I recognize that the very agency in which I serve as chair, agency's executive director has affirmed our agency's support. I will urge colleagues to vote no to the amended motion and advance version 3 while imperfect, not letting perfect be the enemy of the good. Thank you.
Councillor Evans. Councillor Kaczynski.
Yes, so thank you for the comments. I would agree that there are obviously things that we're never going to have like a perfect solution to this problem. I do think it would be better if it focused more on use as opposed to zone as for who had to fill out this form. But with that said, for many of the uses, I feel like people can fairly easily find out that they don't need an air quality permit for a dance club or a dance studio. And I think that there are some places where it can be surprising that you need an air quality permit. Like I did not realize that coffee roasters needed an air quality permit until I started working on this project. And so I think one of the things that the attestation does is help make sure that some folks who may be surprised that they would need an air quality permit are getting that information, or a water quality permit or any one of these other permits, are getting that information early and are not getting to the end of the process and realizing, oh wait, I thought I was doing a coffee shop, but I'm roasting on site and now I need this permit and I didn't know I needed it. And so I think that can help with that coordination all the way through, even if just looking at the list, some of them seem like fairly obvious where you would land with it. So I'm going to be supporting the motion that was in the packet and not the substitution. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. I'll now take Councillor Zelenka.
Yeah, I actually think that option 3 is going to be a help to businesses rather than a hindrance or a burden, as some of the councilors would think. And that reason I say that is that if you're going to develop a new business or expand or do something that requires construction, and you're going down that road, and at the end of it, you realize that towards the end of it, you realize that, oh, darn, I need these permits, and I didn't know anything about it. A little bit of homework at the front end, a little bit of notice at the front end that the attestation does say. You don't have to get the permit. You just have to say that you looked into it. This is going to actually help people develop projects. And as to, barber shops don't need permits and dance studios don't need permits. So that was kind of a red herring. So, but for those that do need permits, it's pretty easy. And it's their responsibility, if they're doing a good job of developing a project, to figure out what the heck they need to do in order to make the project work and successfully go through the process and not get bonked down at the end because they didn't understand it. And that's the responsibility of the person doing the development, not the City of Eugene staff.
Councilor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. When I held up this list of occupancies and uses that would require this process, I didn't just make that up. This is from the City of Eugene, right here. And I'd be happy to share that. I mean, but of course, it's available to you if you take the time to research it. Thank you.
I'll now take, seeing no other questions or comments from council, I'll now take a vote on the motion to substitute, which would mean not substitute, but actually return to another conversation regarding public health standards entirely. And so this is the vote on the motion to substitute. Councilors, please lock in your votes on your tablets in front of you. We have 3 votes favor, and I believe, Councilor Zelenka, you voted no, 5 votes
Correct.
against. And so the motion to substitute fails, and we return to the main motion. Is there any additional discussion from council regarding the main motion? Seeing none, I'll now turn to council for a vote. Councilors, please lock in your votes on the tablets in front of you. Can't see the votes. Thank you. Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in favor and 1 voting against, and the motion passes with a vote of 7-1. Thank you, council. And we now move to the last agenda item on this evening's agenda, which is the public comment period. Public comment period is an opportunity for individuals to speak to the City Council on any city-related issues except for those items which have already been heard by a hearings official. Speakers should direct their comments to City Council and Mayor, not to the audience. And staff, can you please share the list and number of speakers that signed up to speak by 7:35 p.m. and announce the first speakers?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 24 speakers this evening. I will announce 2 speakers' names at a time. When you are called to speak, please state your name and your ward or neighborhood, if known, before beginning your comments. When you are announced as the next speaker, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. Please leave any bags you may have with you at your seat. If you have documents to give council, please place them in the basket near the podium. You will have 2.5 minutes to speak. The timer will flash red when you have 15 seconds remaining to speak. Your microphone will be muted at the 2.5-minute mark. Please note that use of profanity is not permitted. Our first speakers tonight are Lynn Woodrich, followed by Jim New.
My name's Lynn Woodrich. I'm the co-chair of the Active Bethel Community and a Bethel resident for over 30 years. I live in Ward 8. I've been speaking on behalf of our ABC board for the past 6 years. On April 22nd, 2020, the City of Eugene presented Bethel redevelopment to this council. You passed a motion 7-1 to direct the city manager to develop a comprehensive planning, implementation, and funding strategy to achieve community and economic prosperity in Bethel. The first strategy was continued neighborhood engagement and capacity building. We did our part. Our ABC email newsletter list has grown from 300 to 1,263 with a 50% open rate. And we just won a first-place national award. The community showed up. Strategy 1 accomplished. Now we need the city to show up. There's a Bethel area vision draft sitting on the Bethel Planning website. I was told today it's with staff being reviewed for gaps. Meanwhile, the last Building a Better Bethel Economic Development Task Team report was published in June of 2015. That action plan was supposed to be complete by 2020. Very few tasks have been completed. One of them was to rebrand the Bethel area to align with its positive trajectory. That didn't happen. Tonight, we're asking the city manager to follow through to develop a real, funded, comprehensive strategy for Bethel's future. Not another vision document, not another gap analysis, action. Bethel has been patient. It's time. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Our next speakers are Jim New, followed by Jennifer Linnea.
Mayor, Council, and City Manager, my name is Jim New. I live in Ward 7. There's something about holding a clipboard that people view you as having the plague. Oh no, he wants me to get to sign something. Gathering signatures of what dozens of volunteers are doing until the end of July in order to get a proposed City of Eugene measure on the November ballot. If passed, the Eugene Clean Energy Fund would place a surcharge of 2% on the gross profits of local big box stores that make more than $1 billion nationally and $500,000 locally, but would exclude basic groceries, medicines, garbage, recycling, and healthcare services. The estimated $15 million a year from this fund would help the city meet its goals of the Climate Recovery Ordinance by investing back into the community through 4 grant areas. 60% into renewable energy and energy efficiency programs for households, 25% into creating clean energy jobs, 10% into green infrastructure projects, and 5% into future innovations. The Eugene Clean Energy Fund would assist renters and homeowners in weatherization improvements, window replacements, ducting for heating and cooling upgrades, making energy bills more affordable for utility customers, and lightening the energy loads for eWeb, especially during times of peak demand. The fund would create training and education for electricians, HVAC and heat pump installers, building energy auditors, solar, battery, and electric vehicle infrastructure maintenance technicians. Most importantly, the Eugene Clean Energy Fund would start the process in reducing the city's building carbon footprint within the community in an equitable social and economic process while transitioning off of fossil fuels. The Portland Clean Energy Fund passed the same type of measure several years ago and has been very successful. I urge the mayor and city council to publicly support this measure and thank Councilor Keating for his support. Listen to what the folks with the clipboards have to say and sign the petition. It may be one of the easiest and best things you can do for the future of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Our next speakers are Jennifer Linnea, followed by Linda Ague.
My name is Jennifer Linnea, Ward 2. I'm an undergraduate data science student at the University of Oregon. I'm about to graduate, and I would like to present the results of some research that I did for a class this term. The research looked at the effects of the Cahoots closure on welfare check calls, and I believe this is important because welfare check calls are a way that our community shows care for one another. Historically, the Eugene Police Department answered about half of these calls, and Cahoots answered the other half. That's also true in Springfield. But the new Lane County Crisis Service doesn't do welfare check calls, so I wanted to see if there was an impact on them. Using Springfield as a control group, I analyzed population-adjusted changes to call volumes and response rate post-Cahoots, and I found that while the total number of incoming calls has not changed, population adjusted, compared to Springfield, the number of incoming welfare check calls has decreased. I also found that while the police, of the calls that come in, the police department is not answering more than they were pre-Cahoots, but the number of welfare check calls that are coming in that result in no dispatch has increased. And I think taken together, these results indicate that fewer calls are coming in and that of the calls that come in, fewer of them are being answered, and that this represents a gap left by the Cahoots closure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our next speakers are Linda Ague, followed by Robert Brock.
Good evening, councilors and mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Linda Ague. I live in Ward 4. And for a few more days, I am the president of the Friends of the Eugene Public Library. I was also a member of the Vote Yes for the Library Levy Committee, and I'm here to speak in their behalf. We just want to take this opportunity to thank the council for their leadership and support for the library in the last election. Your decision to choose a levy that not only continued the current services of the library, but also ensures robust digital access, provides the resources and personnel needed to have a positive effect on early childhood literacy, and also explores expansion of library services through the use of kiosks. Well, it was inspiring. I trust that your decisions in the future will preserve this wise and worthy effort. I also want to take this opportunity to publicly thank the people of Eugene who voiced their support for the library with their votes. Just like the millions of postcards we've sent over the last few years say, our votes truly are our voices, and we need to practice and preserve our right to use that voice. The last count I saw put support for the levy at about 65%. We can only hope that the other 35% take the time to see the wealth of opportunities the library provides and eventually find their voice as a library supporter. I listened to the earlier work session. Budgets are hard. I don't see any signs that the gazillionaires of the world are going to be the answer to our financial woes. So it's up to you to use your big brains and create the city the voters have asked for. Thank you for taking on that task. I also hope any new faces that may be next in line are listening as well. Good luck to any and all.
Thank you, Linda. Our next speakers are Robert Brock, followed by Justin Phillip.
Good evening. My name is Robert Brock. I'm a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and I live in the River Road neighborhood. Martin Siller was a member of the Eugene Police Department for 7 years. It's ridiculous to think that his fellow officers could have been unaware of his racist attitudes that whole time. And yet, after 7 years, it wasn't anyone in EPD that got rid of him. He only resigned after a community member released Siller's body cam footage to the public. Police Chief Skinner has turned a blind eye to racism in EPD. He's allowed EPD officers to harass ICE Watch rapid responders, legal observers, and protesters, and continues to speak highly of the Flock Safety mass surveillance system that served to funnel data towards federal agencies like ICE. None of those things help the people of Eugene. People of color and immigrants are a part of our community, and we cannot have a police department that isn't interested in serving the whole community. I'm calling on the city to be proactive about fighting racism and police violence. Since Chief Skinner isn't interested in that, he needs to go. Additionally, the city needs to end all EPD cooperation or support of ICE, the Department of Homeland Security, and Customs and Border Patrol. I'm calling on the city to follow the recommendations of the Ad Hoc Committee on Police Policy, which 6 years ago released a report detailing ways the city of Eugene could prevent police racism and violence. Those recommendations include expanding the power of civilian oversight over EPD and making the findings of the Civilian Review Board binding so that EPD can be held accountable to the community it purports to serve. I'm calling on the city to reallocate EPD funds towards projects that meet people's needs. Eugenians are struggling with limited access to healthcare and rising housing costs that force people into the streets. These problems can be addressed by things like alternative crisis response, affordable housing, and healthcare infrastructure. They'll never be solved by more police. Finally, we want full transparency from the City of Eugene around funds received from the Eugene Police Foundation and how they're used. Our community deserves accountability, and the people of Eugene need a system that prioritizes the safety and dignity of all people. These are simple steps the City of Eugene can take to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Our next speakers are Justin Phillip, followed by Robert Parrish.
Hello, Council. My name is Justin Phillip. I'm here representing roughly 1,000 Greens, registered Greens in Eugene. I'm the Secretary of the Pacific Green Party. And I live in Ward 5. Be represented by Athena Aguiar. My name is Justin Phillip, and as I said, I'm the Secretary of the Pacific Green Party, and I'm here tonight. I'm here to offer comment on the EPD and the body cam footage recently released as part of discovery in a court case. It revealed some very troubling, if unsurprising, attitudes among our police force. Now, I'm not expecting every officer to share my worldview, but I do expect them to respect the public they serve and to be professional. The EPD needs to be held accountable for the toxic culture within the department, and the buck stops with Chief Skinner. Now, while firing Chief Skinner won't fix all the problems, the community needs to send a message that we will not tolerate a racist police force that has contempt for the public it serves. What else can we do? Is the police commission doing its job? How about the civilian review board? Should the police commission be located in the police station? Does that make sense? Are we ever going to get serious about sensitivity training in the EPD? I know a lot of us have probably taken some sensitivity training and probably know how that goes. You check a box, but we need to really make an impactful change there. Simply replacing the chief of police is not enough, but it might be a necessary step in repairing the damage done and working toward an EPD that protects and serves our community without bias. And to go further, I'll offer this comment. Can we imagine a society without police? Policing in the U.S. began as slave patrols. The history of policing is rooted in white supremacy. We need public safety personnel, people trained in de-escalation, conflict mediation, nonviolent negotiation, and non-lethal disarmament and restorative justice. We need people trained to protect and serve the most targeted in our society, not the wealthy and powerful. We need people trained in dispute resolution and active and compassionate listening. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Justin. Our next speakers are Robert Parrish, followed by Drew Winters.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Robert Parrish. Community response is a public good. Community response deserves to be funded. Community response was part of Eugene for 36 years. I personally worked on the Cahoots vans for 21 of those years. Dozens and dozens of people have come to these very meetings and voiced their support for funding a highly similar model to the Cahoots program Eugene lost. The Girl Scouts pled with you to fund community response. The community recognizes the need for it, and we want it back. On the vans, my coworkers and I worked 12-hour shifts for a fraction of the cost to send any other responder. We showed up for people in some of their most painful moments. We earned the trust of the community and national attention while we were at it. We can bring it back if you fund it. This is not wishful thinking. This is not unrealistic. It is not even untested. My colleagues and I cut our teeth on the experiences we gained in this city. It is sad that we do not have such services today, but you can change that. City councilors can direct the city manager to carve out a small piece of the budget, like you said you would in the fall, and fund community response. For 36 years, we had a community response program that was independently administered. You don't actually need to have the police or the fire department oversee it. You don't actually need community responders to compromise health information privacy in order to engage in data sharing. You don't need to insist that funding go to a program, you just need to insist that funding go to a program that's very similar to what we lost. People you delegated that task to did not do that. I ask you, please, to fund a viable replacement for community response. It is humanistic, it is cost-saving, it makes other first responders more available, it is a PR win, and it's cheaper than a lawsuit payout. Fund a successor to Cahoots, not just a data harvesting service for the police.
Thank you, Robert. Our next speakers are Drew Winters, followed by Jacob True.
The U.S. has a history of policing being used to control segments of the population, blacks, aliens, union members, women, etc. These are the people who are disadvantaged in our society. History has given rise to a policing culture that is authoritative and abusive. We've seen this in Eugene under the supervision of Chief Skinner, who is a product of this culture. On his webpage is this quote, "Chief Skinner is a founding chair of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs Public Trust Committee, which uses 21st century policing to guide work aimed at building trust between public safety agencies and communities across Washington." This quote demonstrates the problem very eloquently. 20th century policing, as demonstrated by Chief Skinner and others in this culture, uses drones and flock cameras to monitor the community and infringe on our privacy. Data and common sense clearly demonstrate that these methods do not build trust. They undermine it. I'm a 74-year-old white woman. Therefore, I'm a member of the privileged class. Yet I have never once in my life had a positive interaction with a police officer. I've had negative and I've had neutral. By neutral, I mean I was going 10 miles over the speed limit. I was stopped. I was ticketed. A man's doing his job. Recently, well, not recently, it was a couple of years ago, I had negative interactions, such as when I was stopped by a Eugene police officer and accused of almost getting him killed. I was slowing to make a turn onto Valley River. He said the person behind him almost hit him and it was my fault. He was agitated. He was talking to me with a raised voice. I was on my way to work. The following week, I kept track of the number of people that slowed at that intersection. It was between 30 and 33% that did just what I did. That's an example of your police force. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta skip. I'm here. First, I'm here to offer a solution. Choose a police, obviously, Chief Skinner needs replaced. Choose a police.
Sorry, Drew, your time is concluded. Our next speakers are Jacob True, followed by Travis Pendergrass.
Hello there, Jacob True, Ward 1. I'm here to speak about public safety tonight. EPD is the largest recipient of our tax money from the Eugene's General Fund. $146 million, or about 40%, goes to the police department. What has Chief Skinner done with all that money? Well, for one, he hired Seiler, the one making racist comments in that video that folks talked about earlier. He promised innovative solutions to streamline policing. What does that mean? Drones and flock cameras, mass surveillance. But I'd say his biggest accomplishment was getting City Council to support the Community Safety Payroll Tax, a payroll tax that takes funds from workers' paychecks, gives it straight to the police department. $30 million from workers in Eugene to pay for drones, surveillance, and other innovative solutions. What it doesn't pay for is the real innovative solution that we already had here for the last 36 years. We had Cahoots, compassionate, dedicated people out on the streets every day responding to community needs. And that's for a fraction of the money that EPD now takes from our paychecks. Since we've lost that, and this is Skinner's figures I'm taking here, we've seen a 53% increase in criminal trespass charges and a 36% increase in arrests and citations citywide. Budgets show the real priorities of the city. $2.5 million a year would cover real community response service, but what we got last fall was $500,000 for alternative response to be determined and full funding for the EPD. What did city staff do with that $500,000? They rejected the proposal that would have brought the ex-Cahoots workers back at WVCC back on the streets in a pilot program. What city staff chose was a for-profit, out-of-state methadone clinic who serves people who have already been arrested instead of stopping them from being arrested in the first place. The old, city-owned Cahoots vans are right now sitting in a parking lot somewhere rusting away. If I were on city council and I cared about public safety, I'd fund real 24-hour, 7-day-a-week community alternative response ASAP and fire folks who got in the way of getting it back. Our demand is that Eugene fund community response, $2.5 million a year, that's less than 3% of the police budget, immediately. The police can spend less on drones, videographers, and overtime protecting ICE and their brand new fence. The community safety payroll tax that funnels money to the police is likely going to be up for renewal next year. Folks here, pledge now to oppose that wrong-headed payroll tax.
Thank you, Jacob. Our next speakers are Travis Pendergrass, followed by Leonardo DeFranco.
Good evening. My name is Travis Pendergrass, a Eugene resident the last 12 years. My name should be familiar with most of you people. Since I warned you in writing, this council, the former mayor, the former city manager, of unprofessional, abusive, and unlawful EPD conduct by multiple police personnel during the past 14 years. The citizens of Eugene have an obligation and every right to challenge Chief Skinner's lack of leadership, his disrespect for the rights to be free of abusive, unprofessional, unlawful conduct by his personnel. The citizens of Eugene demand you put a stop to this unacceptable police conduct. Chief Skinner may well be a very nice, well-intended individual. However, his past 8 years of failing to rein in the ever-present dark force, unprofessional conduct exercised daily by many of his officers clearly demonstrates he and our city fathers have failed. Having a decade of experience as a narcotics agent, collegially working with local police, sheriff's departments, I have personally witnessed at various levels abusive misconduct by poorly managed police officers. December 26, 2018, I personally met with Eugene Police Auditor Mark Geisner minutes after leaving a meeting with EPD Ron Hesnath. I filed a complaint with Mr. Geisner reporting the earlier egregious unprofessional conduct towards me by Tenseth. Mr. Geisner was very attentive, he was empathetic. Regarding my earlier meeting experience, Mr. Geisner's response was, quote, "Travis, you know, they're never going to change. They never will," unquote. The definition of insanity is repeating the same behavior over and over, expecting a different result. That is precisely the failure of Chief Skinner and our past city administrators. The Eugene Police Department, in many respects, mirrors what I have witnessed in other agencies. The unacceptable conduct.
Thank you, Travis.
No different.
Thank you, Travis. Your time is concluded.
Council, however, takes.
Travis. Our next speakers are Leonardo DeFranco, followed by Thea Abatoy.
Hello, my name is Leonard DeFranco, Ward 4. Thank you, Mayor and council members. For so many of us in this room, we have been activists fighting for civil rights for decades. I am here today to respectfully demand a level of discourse that is appropriate for our time. In the year 2026, we cannot tolerate racial epithets. We deserve leaders to set a very high examples for our city, university, and county. Chief Skinner needs to resign. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Our next speakers are Thea Abatoy, followed by Roger Knudsen.
Thea Abatoy, Party for Socialism and Liberation, Ward 7. Hope without work is just wishful thinking. And the statement of Skinner after Martin Siller resigned shows little more than lip service and wishful thinking. Skinner said himself in a statement, "Accountability must be real, and trust must be earned through action." Well, we need action because there is no trust right now and there is no accountability. A resignation is not sufficient. This is far from a one bad apple problem. This is a pattern we've seen from this department that shows that the rot is deep and baked into the culture. You do not solve a problem of culture, of patterns of thinking and behavior, by letting someone go. The circumstances that allowed this and encouraged this behavior in Siller and in others needs to be completely reworked so that they can never exist in that way again. The current structure's power dynamic gives the police chief final disciplinary authority, allowing the police to absolve themselves of any accountability. This incident is by not any means isolated. It just happened to catch attention. It mirrors a larger pattern of violence that we've seen for years in this community and which we know to be a part of much of the history of this country. We're a sanctuary city. EPD officers should not be assisting or shielding ICE agents, and yet we've seen them block traffic for ICE, arrest and intimidate protesters, interfere with rapid responders and legal observers. We know that ICE accessed flock data over 100 times after Skinner installed the mass surveillance system without our knowledge or consent, using our tax dollars, of course. EPD responds to 911 calls made by ICE but has refused to protect the people from ICE, just like on the night of January 30th, while Siller was making racist and misogynistic comments and laughing at people who were being blinded and forced into the road. That night, EPD refused to help when citizens made 911 calls and then criminalized someone who tried to help keep people safe. The community protected each other that night, while EPD protected ICE. We need real accountability. We need an expansion of community oversight of EPD. We need the power to put our money towards services that actually help people instead of criminalizing and harassing them. We need EPD to end all collaboration with ICE, period. We need Skinner gone. He has proven over the last 7 years that he is not committed to addressing internal cultures of misogyny and racism or the solutions that actually help people. We need the safety and dignity of all people to be the priority of this city council, and we need action to ensure that the police are no longer a threat to those freedoms.
Thank you, Thea. Our next speakers are Roger Knudsen, followed by Patricia Hine.
Good evening. My name is Roger Knudsen. I live in Ward 8. As Eugene makes important but still painfully slow progress toward meeting its goals for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, a new obstacle has appeared: climate hushing. The idea is that leaders should talk less or not at all about climate change because it might be politically inconvenient. Use of the term climate change fell by more than 30% in news coverage in 2025 compared to the year before. Both Reuters and the Washington Post closed their climate desk. So it's particularly distressing for me to hear that climate hushing has come to City Hall. Elected representatives reportedly have said they've stopped using the word climate altogether because of the immediate backlash it provokes. Silence on climate does not reflect what our community believes. The latest update to the Yale Climate Opinion Maps reports that 69% of adults in the Eugene-Springfield metro area are concerned or alarmed about global warming. That's 6 points higher than the national average. Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island has repeatedly urged elected officials to stand up to efforts to delay climate action, including climate hushing. But he adds something else important. When leaders stop talking about an issue, public enthusiasm fades. Eugene climate activists have enthusiastically supported candidates who said they would be climate champions. We need your voices now more than ever as the crisis worsens. Experts are warning that Oregon's wildfire season could be severe, even catastrophic. A super El Nino is looming. This is no time to submit to climate hushing. Say the word, climate, and then take action to match the scale of the crisis. When you do, you'll have our support. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Roger. Our next speakers are Patricia Hine, followed by Jay Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, City Manager. My name is Patty Hine. I live in the county. I'm co-president of 350 Eugene. The 350 in our name represents the safe upper limit of parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the blanket that overheats our planet due primarily to the burning of fossil fuels. In April, the average parts per million was 431, the highest point since recording began. This was also by far the hottest winter in the West, and our snowpack is at record low. The upcoming Niño cycle promises to break all records for damaging weather events. All that to say, I am glad we have good council leadership for climate, a talented sustainability staff and commission, with up-to-date Climate 2.0 reports and a climate dashboard. We're behind in meeting our goals, but we're making meaningful progress. I'm optimistic about the energy transition, but we need to urgently fund and rapidly implement programs that support electrification, battery storage, efficiency, and renewable energy infrastructure. The plummeting costs of renewable energy are amazing. The worldwide transition is well underway. And now, with the dangers and volatility of the trade in non-renewable, dirty energy, it's all but drowned out our scientific, moral, and economic arguments. We need energy sources that petro wars can't shut down. Investments in these clean energy, if permitted, speedily and simplified, provide broad-based prosperity and energy security that prioritize the needs of communities, local businesses, families with energy poverty. I ask you that you recommit to these goals and take it to the next level. Let's transition Eugene's public buildings to heat pumps and initiate solar and battery projects with eWeb to generate local power and reduce our costs. Let's turn big corporate profits into local savings by supporting the Eugene Clean Energy Fund so we can build EV charging infrastructure, transition homes off of their oil furnaces, and keep summers cool by covering our public pools and saving on those electric bills. It's never been more important. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Our next speakers are Jay Smith, followed by Curtis Blankenship.
My name is Jay Smith. I am a resident of Ward 1. The culture of a given organization is largely determined by what leadership allows to unfold under its command. After the videos of Officer Siller, a due amount of concern was brought to the attention of this board regarding the culture that Chief Skinner has seemingly allowed under the command of EPD. It is disgraceful and utterly detestable that Chief Skinner has been allowed to continue acting as Chief of Police with such stains on his record. It is also detestable that the modes of accountability for police are so drastically short and unapproachable for the everyday person. Under the current system of independent police auditor, for complaints of minor misconduct, for example, performance issues, or for the inquiries, you have 60 days to submit a complaint. Incidents alleging major misconduct can be submitted up to 6 months after the incident. This is a very short amount of time, especially for individuals traumatized, brutalized, criminalized, and harmed by harmful members of this police department. The system can be better. Chief Skinner's command, however, is untenable, as you are bound to hear again, and as you've heard before. We demand that either Chief Skinner resign, that you, city manager, fire him, or that the city manager, as you on the council have the ability to in 6 months' time, be removed from office and replaced with one who will handle the situation with the integrity and resolve needed. In addendum, I would also ask this council consider increases to the amount of time given to file a complaint for the independent police auditor, as from what I understand, you have the ability to do such. Thank you. Solidarity forever.
Thank you, Curtis. Or Jay. Our next speakers are Curtis Blankenship, followed by Athena Aguiar.
Hi, I'm Curtis Blankenship, Springfield. I've paid taxes in Lane County since 1985, and I wanted to talk to you about restorative and preventative justice rather than punitive measures, okay? You know, there is no such thing as good or evil. I'm here to tell you that right now. There's only just and unjust, there's only right and wrong, there's no such thing as good and evil. Don't believe me? Ask any woman in this room if a newborn baby is evil, if that baby is evil, and they will tell you no, they are not evil. And so this is, again, this is why we need restorative justice and non-punitive measures. You know, if they are evil, that means they have brain damage, okay? And they need even more responsibility. Society is even more responsible for these people. People are a product of society. They are not born the way they are. So again, I just want money spent on restorative justice and preventative justice rather than punitive measures. And I need you to explain, maybe you need to explain this to your constituency, what I've said about good or evil. Ask your religious representatives. They will tell you that no one is born evil. That's not the way it works. So anyway, what else? You know, and I think we've made some progress real quick here. It is the 21st century. You know, in Voltaire's Candide, they used to burn people, they used to roast people alive. So I guess we have made some progress. All right, thank you for your time on this matter.
Thank you, Curtis. Our next speakers are Athena Aguiar, followed by Blair Hickok.
Hello, Mayor, Council. I'm Athena Aguiar, resident of Ward 5. And I was looking at this charter safety payroll tax text, and it talks about how it has to be for a community safety service, which I think is what people were talking about earlier in the work session about like how it has to be an eligible service. And those are like police, fire, EMS, like 911, jail services, right? But it could be changed to just be like only a CAHOOTS like crisis response service or something like, or like primarily, or do something like that, and then still have these other services in the community safety payroll tax when you guys put it back on the ballot again. So if you I would request that you would all direct the city staff or do whatever needs to happen to make it so that we can bring back Cahoots this way, because it is kind of, my understanding of this is it was intended to be for marginalized communities when it was originally created, and to be kind of like in the vein of alternative response anyways originally. So if it could just be alternative response, I think that would be kind of responsive to what the original premise of the community safety payroll tax was. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Athena. Our next speakers are Blair Hickok, followed by Lauren Olson.
Hello, it is so good to be here. March 18th, I ended my breast cancer journey and made it out alive, so hello. So I'm a student at U of O. My undergrad is in business admin. Sustainable business is my focus. My graduate program is going to be in public administration, and my research is in public policy, more specifically, how to prevent or reduce homelessness for vulnerable communities, more specifically, folks on a fixed income. So I come here today because I want to talk about a couple things. If you are on a fixed income in Lane County, you will imminently be priced out of housing if you are a renter within 5 years. That's just the reality. This is for the last 10 years, this is a fact, okay? So there are a couple things that kind of dull that curve. One of them is an eviction moratorium, another, capping rental increase rates, and then number 3, housing subsidies. We love to see them, right? So during COVID, we had a couple things happen, right? Eviction moratoriums, we had programs and protections put in place for these renters, right? They worked beautifully. People stayed in housing because you know what's important? And the things that people have been talking about here, it all boils down to what? Public health and safety. And that's what we're all here about, right? So how do we keep these people housed? Eviction moratorium, that's way too far in advance. We can't talk about that in this kind of political climate, can we? No, we can't. But what if we start there and work backwards? What if we start talking about solutions that make sense for us? What if we start inviting our neighbors who live on the streets to have these conversations too, because this affects them? You know who's ending up on the streets the fastest? You know who's becoming unsheltered the quickest? People who are elderly and folks who are disabled. These are people who are the most vulnerable in our society, and they're ending up on the streets, and we're criminalizing their existence. Do you know how swift the pipeline is from getting a ticket for sleeping outside to becoming a felon and chronically homeless? It is super quick, especially if you don't have the resources of mobility, access to phone, or simply just being able to function, because the longer you stay on the streets, the more your success as a person and the ability to live and function devolves. Your life skills start to devolve. And here in Oregon, here in Eugene, the amount of chronically unhoused people increased by 17% last year, and that is unacceptable. So we need to do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair. Our next speakers are Lauren Olson, followed by Joe Martirana.
I did write something to begin with, but I also want to speak from my heart. So I'm someone who moved to Eugene at age 18 from Houston, Texas, and I'm now 41. So I've spent 23 years in this town working on farms, building nonprofits and small businesses, going to college at LCC, raising children and caring for the children of neighbors and friends, and working in the restaurants. I think about all the people we have living here, the champion athletes at the U of O, the international artists and musicians that live and perform here for the community every year. And most of all, I think about the youth and what they grew up seeing and hearing around them. And we have a responsibility in this community to uphold the safety and dignity and human rights of every individual in this community. I am going to move on to I statements. I am unhoused. I live in my car with my dog. I have 2 children that I raised in this community. I care about police harassment and brutality as a survivor of DV and sexual abuse. I care. I've had issues with the police. I've lived in this town for years, economically stable. Not anymore, since they've been supporting my abusers in this town. I feel very strongly about what Blair said before me, and I did not know she was talking about me. I am struggling to survive in this community, and this is what I care about because I've been gassed twice downtown. I've been up in Portland. I feel the heat. So I care about what my 11-year-old at Kelly Middle School is dealing with when they deal with agents around their school, which we've seen in the last year. I see the police helping different things around this and harassing the most vulnerable. And that is where I'm coming from, is I don't want to see the police harassing the most vulnerable. I really care about kids' safety. I've seen way too much police interaction with students. I am not comfortable with that in any community. And I have seen, and I know the history of policing and the slave patrol that comes out of Texas and comes out of where I was raised. And I've seen atrocities, and I do not want that here. So that's where I'm coming from. I think Skinner should resign, but I think we have things to train people.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Our next speakers are Joe Martirana, followed by David Eigel.
Hello, City Council. My name is Joe. I live in Ward 1, and I'm a student at the U of O. I've been coming to these meetings for a while now, and I often leave frustrated. We bring our concerns about EPD and how we want to see Chief Skinner gone. We bring our concerns about the gap left post-Cahoots. We bring our concerns about DHS and ICE operations in the city, and we're met with very little. I know you have limited power, but you are not powerless. Listen to your people and what we care about. You seem to think our requests for actions are beyond your scope of power, but people come to these meetings and give you actionable items. And if those items don't fall within your scope of power, then figure out what is. Figure out what you can do with your position and do it, more than just words. Fund community response, remove Chief Skinner, protect our immigrant community members. The people are making it clear what they care about every single meeting. Do something with that information, please.
Thank you, Joe. Our next speakers are David Eigel, followed by Josh Easterland.
David Eigel, Ward 1. Mayor Knutson, no documented report exists that supports that Eugene was a sundown town fable. Talisha Brown asserts her legitimacy by...
Ladies and gentlemen, when testimony is being given, only the person who has the microphone should be speaking, and everyone who gives public testimony has the same amount of time to speak this evening. Please continue.
Well, Mayor, would you please remove the disruptor?
Please continue with your testimony.
The authentic reason they were living there on the North Bank was because there was of an extreme housing shortage. About a third of the residents were white, even if Eugene were a sundown town, and it wasn't. Something other than race has to have caused the white residents to live there. You have helped promote falsehoods. In the last election, Jennifer Yeh listed you as one of her supporters. Ye's Racing to Change exhibit included numerous displays of Eugene Black resident families during the first half of the 20th century. Yet Ye supported the North Bank Memorial. Commissioners who support you politically, Lori Trigger and Heather Buck, have wasted over $30,000 of county funds and encouraged the misuse of $300,000 in donations for this memorial. They took no action to correct the historical record in response to my documenting and exposing the memorial hoax in 2024. However, exposing to all of the county commissioners Traeger's race-baiting comments at the 2024 Baker Park celebration, where she stated she was Jewish and therefore was supportive of the interests of the overwhelmingly black audience, resulted in Trigger threatening me with silence and being arrested by Lane County security personnel. Buck defamed me by accusing me of being a white supremacist and white nationalist. In the 1950s, McCarthyites yelled, "Commie, commie." Today, some McCarthyite types yell, "Racist, racist." Mayor, you've screwed up. Some Oregon communities were, but Eugene never was a sundown town. I'm sorry to have to embarrass you, but you need to act.
Everyone, please quiet while this testimony continues.
It's time to tell the truth. If you don't, you'll end up being called names like Mayor Rosie Ruiz, Mayor Karen Quisling, Mayor Phony Baloney, or Mayor Fill in the Obscenity. Please take action now. My research is available to anyone who requests it without charge. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next...
Everyone, please, as we began this evening, council public comment, we've laid out very clear ground rules for how public comment works, and this is really important that we hold to these agreements. Everyone who comes to public comment is giving public comment. This is not sworn testimony. The city does not fact-check any public comment given. We are here to listen. This is part of the constitutional rights that we hold in our community and the way that our community prioritizes our public and engaging and hearing from our public. And we have, I believe, 3 people still waiting to give public comment this evening. So thank you for allowing them to continue.
Our next speakers are Josh Easterland, followed by Wynn Mansell.
Hey, City Council. Excuse me. I'm Josh Easterlin, Director of Equitable Access Eugene, here to advocate for decriminalizing psychedelic plants and fungi here in Eugene. There are many arguments that could be made about psychedelics. People can point to emerging research, therapeutic applications, economic considerations, or criminal justice reform. Tonight, however, I'd like to focus on something more fundamental: personal liberty. In a free society, adults should generally be allowed to make decisions about their own minds and bodies, provided they are not harming others. We already recognize this principle in countless areas of life. People are allowed to engage in risky sports, consume alcohol, smoke tobacco, eat unhealthy food, practice unusual religions, and make deeply personal decisions about how they live their personal lives. Yet, when it comes to certain naturally occurring plants and fungi, we have chosen a different approach. We have decided that peaceful adults can be threatened with fines, arrest, or criminal records simply for possessing or using substances that primarily affect their own consciousness. I believe that's a misuse of government power. The question before us is not whether everyone should use psychedelics. Many people never will, and that is entirely their choice. The question is whether the government should continue to punish people who make a different choice for themselves. Decriminalization does not mean endorsement. It does not mean encouraging use. It simply means recognizing that criminal punishment is not an appropriate response to personal decisions that don't harm others. Eugene has a long history of valuing civil liberties, community well-being, and evidence-based policy. We have been willing to ask whether existing laws are actually serving the public interest. I encourage you to ask that question here. When peaceful adults are treated as criminals for exercising autonomy over their own consciousness, we diminish both personal freedom and public trust. A more compassionate and liberty-oriented approach is available to us. I hope Eugene will continue to lead by choosing education over punishment, health over criminalization, and freedom over unnecessary government intrusion. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Josh. Our next speakers are Wynn Mansell, followed by Shelley Devine.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. Wynn Mansell, Ward 7. I'll start out by saying, it's pretty clear that the public's trust in the government has been severely eroded. So I will start by, I think, in a sense, seconding Councilor Keating's suggestion from, I believe, I can't remember if it was a meeting ago or 2 meetings ago, to expand the powers of the police auditor. I will also say that I think you should go farther than that and remove EPD's ability to police themselves and put that with the Civilian Review Board or the auditors themselves. I also want to take a moment to applaud the citizens of this community for how hard they have been coming for every meeting that I've been to support one another and to fight for justice within this community. And to that regard, I would encourage the council to explore what it can use of its power to set the bar higher and practice incredible transparency in how the government or how the city government operates in terms of what contracts are you entering into with proposed surveillance software, surveillance equipment, what the data privacy sharings are. Take a page from Portland and Bend, and if you're going to have drones, which I'm not a big fan of, put out a map of how they're being called out, when they're being put out, where they're being put out at, and what the reason for their flights are. And finally, with how hard the members of this community have been working to support themselves and take care of one another, as you enter your long-range budget planning, consider removing from the budget, or at least lessening in the budget, the elements of city government that have lost the public's trust, and empower the elements of the community that are showing up for the community. I think bringing back Cahoots or something like Cahoots would be very powerful, and the other housing and care organizations that have come up to speak to you tonight, I think will have a bigger return on investment in the city budget than what we've been seeing out of EPD. Thank you.
Thank you, Wynn. Our next and final speaker is Shelley Devine.
Is it weird that this is how we're getting to know each other? We were disruptive and broke decorum at the last meeting, a little bit tonight. Some of that might have been me. But please read the room. There is information to be found in our collective outrage. Admonishing us and threatening to end the meeting is both unnecessary and punitive. I felt disappointed and embarrassed at your response. And when I'm feeling confronted in life by a person, a situation, like my default mode is to, my default mode setting is to put my guard up, to react, be defensive, or to exert control. It's unproductive and doesn't serve to promote understanding, empathy, or collaboration. Have you ever heard the phrase, first thought wrong? I have learned to lean in to my personal discomfort and find curiosity when feeling confronted and invite you to do the same. It makes a world of difference. Be the difference. Y'all have already reduced our limited speaking time allotment. We are here as community members, parents, organizers, workers, volunteers, constituents, and leaders. Our lack of adherence to decorum is rare, so when it does happen, lean in. We are conveying valuable information and we're worth being seen and heard, even when, maybe especially when, we're being disruptive. The message received last meeting was that decorum and your comfort is more important than our collective voice, and that is fundamentally incorrect. I implore any member of this council to turn off David's microphone when he stands up here and spews his historically inaccurate and racist rhetoric like he does every meeting, and it's allowed to continue. It's the same as condoning it. Call it what it is and shut it down. He's a racist bigot and a liar. We're subjected to it to 2.5 minutes every meeting, and you allow him a platform for hatred. Congratulations to Jennifer Smith. I was proud to vote for you. Post your sign in my yard, promote your campaign, and advocate for others to do so in my ward. And we're looking forward to seeing Athena Aguiar mop the floor in Ward 5.
Thank you, Shelley. Mayor, that was our final speaker.
Thank you, staff. I now close the public comment period. And are there any comments from City Council this evening? Councillor Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to everyone who came out to provide public comment tonight. I've got a few things I want to go over, but first, Jennifer Naya, Ward 2, your CAHOOTS study or your point about the gaps in regard to the CAHOOTS closure, I think would be welcome to be further explored at the Human Services Commission, which is a body, it's an intergovernmental body made up of 2 commissioners from Lane County, 2 city councilors, myself and Councilor Leach, and 2 city councilors from Springfield. Those are monthly meetings. Jennifer, see me after the meeting, or I'll follow up, because those meetings we do accept public comment as well, and I would love for you to expand on your research, your data on the crisis around the aforementioned gap in closure. It was alluded to or referenced to my advancing or longing to advance a code change in regard to the deadlines for filing misconduct complaints. I want to thank city staff and city attorney for getting back to me today while I was in flight. I apologize for being so casual today, but I was traveling from a weekend in Denver. And colleagues, you'll get a work session poll that city staff helped me create that amends Eugene City Code 2.456, subsection K and subsection I, related to deadlines for filing minor and serious misconduct complaints with the Office of the Police Auditor, changing those existing 6 weeks and 6 months complaints, respectively, to hopefully a 6-month for minor offenses and even larger or expanding to a year or 2 years for some of those more serious complaints. I look forward to that dialogue, so please check your inbox for that work session. In my final 40 seconds, take climate action today and visit EugeneCleanEnergyFund.org to learn more about the growing coalition around this most critical fund that's working in Portland and should work here in Eugene. The coalition around the effort include but aren't limited to the Eugene Education Association, IBEW Local 280, the Iron Workers, Lane Coos Curry County Building Trades, the Sheet Metal Workers, businesses like Gratitude Brewing, Taco 4, Wheel Pizza Pub, elected officials like Senator Manning, Representative Phil Barnhart, former Mayor Kitty Piercy, and Councilor-elect Jennifer Smith. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or feedback from council this evening, I will now close the June 8th, 2026 City Council meeting, and we are adjourned.